So a few of the challenges that we ran into with our DevOps program was mentioned earlier. Our goal was to stand up a DevOps tool chain and then onboard teams. I think we underestimated the effort to onboard teams and teach people how to fish. I think if you're talking about a developer, especially when you have a disparate set of tools, you're having to teach them how to use a handful of tools, and that's not trivial. People generally don't like change anyway, so you don't want to make the change more complicated than it has to be. So when you're onboarding teams and you're taking them to a place where they have to learn this source code management tool, they need to learn these scanning tools, this is your continuous integration tool, this is your automated deployment tool, it becomes overwhelming to them, and it becomes difficult to break that down into smaller chunks. I think part of the issue that we had in teaching people how to fish was just getting over that initial inertia and fear of having to learn all the new stuff. And it is complex. It's one of those things that when you're going through automating a pipeline, the end result is fantastic, right? I can commit code and it's going to end up being deployed and I don't do anything else. Don't underestimate how much effort it takes to get from point A to point Z there, though. It's a lot of effort to actually build that the first time. Another thing that we learned that we ended up having to pivot on was just how you set up your teams. If you're running a DevOps program, we initially set up our teams a lot by capability. So we would have testing capabilities would be this team, infrastructure would be this team. We determined that made it very difficult when you onboard teams because you didn't want to say, okay, go to this team, work on the infrastructure, then go to this other DevOps team to help with testing, and this other DevOps team will help with your CI/CD challenges. It's just too many handoffs, and it gets complex, and you lose a little momentum with those teams. So we ended up dividing the teams up more into a customer success model where there was one team that just constantly worked with the application teams. They were focused on the onboarding throughout the entire tool chain and providing support to them when they had issues. And then our other DevOps team was more focused on continuous improvement, maintaining the tool chain, introducing new capabilities and features to the tool chain. I think that was a lesson learned. And then if I were to add maybe a third thing here, it's be really cognizant of who you put on the teams. In other words, be very, very picky. You want a certain set of skill sets on those teams. You hear the term full stack developer. You need plenty of full stack developers here. So you need to make sure you have people who can work with the customer teams, understand the whole life cycle, what it takes to build code, to deploy code, so that you can have a smaller team that can focus on the full solution as they work with the team. So don't necessarily staff your teams with who's available. You need to find the right people.